Hey guys, it's Lara, and in this video, we are going to be talking all about how to do research for PA. So let me share my screen. There we go. Okay, so PA research. First, why research? The biggest thing is when you're researching, you are getting background information and developing your understanding, because the main thing about speech that you need to realize is that you are the one who's giving people information. So you become the pro. So even if you're not a pro, you're the one who's going to kind of be like the information point and person to look up to about this topic. So you want to really like have a broad and deep knowledge of your topic and a deep understanding of it, and complex understanding, so that you can talk about it outside of just your like memorized speech. Like you want to be able to have conversations with people about this, without having like words that you need to say. You want to just know about it. So then some other aspects of that come from that are, you want to be able to draw connections between topics, substantiate and understand the importance of a topic and the multiple importances and like intersectionalities of this topic with other topics. And then form a valuable, notable idea. Not that you're going to come up with like a completely new perspective on this, and you shouldn't really, because you're not necessarily supposed to take a side, especially in info, you're not. But it's just kind of like you're supposed to. That's what makes speech unique, because you're researching and reading and digesting all this information, and then putting your own kind of twist and perspective on the information that you are spreading. Again, it shouldn't be biased, but there is like a unique aspect to it, which is the coolest part. And then, of course, research, like hard facts, statistics, studies, will support your argument and help develop your credibility when you're speaking. And research, a big thing to note is that it informs your structure choice. So your structure is based on research and your topic, not on what you like most. So it's really important to have done all of your research before you can start writing or doing an outline. So there are kind of two ways that you'll conduct research. The first is with a basic search. So this is just like a Google search or whatever search bar you use. You'll type your topic and any relating terms into search and just see what comes up. So there are two kinds of sources that you'll find. The first are articles. And so articles from credible sources, such as the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Atlantic, the BBC. These all contain good stories, opinions, and explanations, which I'll talk a little bit more about what exactly that means in a few slides. But they have more like personalized views on things, I guess. So credible sources like those can be very good. You can also find really good original studies from sources like these. So usually these news sources, they don't necessarily do their own studies, although sometimes they do. But what they do is talk about, they'll kind of like expand on different studies or draw connections between two different studies, which can be really good insight and inspiration for you. So whenever they refer to a study or anything, that phrase or word will be hyperlinked. So you can click on that and it should take you to the original study, which is what would be ideal for you to cite inside of your actual speech, because that will be the like most credible source and it's the direct source. So then the other sources you'll get are websites like Wikipedia and the Encyclopedia Britannica. And these, although everyone always says not to use them, these are great starting points. So what I mean by that is, especially for general information, Wikipedia has a ton. So just for me to show you, if I were to look up like Cesar Chavez, just because I was reading a book about him with the kid I babysit. As you can see, like, look at this, like the amount of information, you know. And what's really nice about Wikipedia, it's broken up into like set topics. So up here you'll see like the content. So as early life, early activism, different strikes, later activism, later life. So it's very like cut up, and you can see like the years and just go to specific parts of a person's life or specific things about a topic. But the best part is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, so that's a long ways to scroll, but then you get to here where it says references. And this has a few different things to note. The first is these footnotes. Whenever Wikipedia cites any information, so this is pretty much every sentence here, you'll see, it has a little number in brackets at the end. And this relates to the source that it's citing. So like here, if I want to learn more about the college that was named after Cesar Chavez, I could go to source 515. I could also just click here. And it'll take me to the original source, which should be a credible source. So this from Oregon Public Broadcasting, that's something that I could maybe not necessarily cite that, but that should have more information from an even more direct source that I can use, and that will be seen as credible. The second part is the bibliography here. This is like different books or articles that they reference, which can either lead to outside reading for more information or just examples of sources that you can use. Further reading includes some books, PDFs, articles that you can read. And these all, like, see, the University of Illinois, that would be a great source, you know. Obviously you need to check the information and get information from there, but these are all like credible sources that you can use. And then external links, it has like an official biography, an article from the Los Angeles Times, the American Statesman, PBS documentaries. So these are all the sources that you would want to cite. And so what you want to use Wikipedia for is general reading and understanding and like broadening of your knowledge of this topic. And then you can go further in depth and find, it's a good like place to find sources. And also what I want to show really quickly is any of these like any of the blue text shows a quick little definition of what they're talking about. So this is great if you ever run across a word you don't know, you can just put your mouse over it and it'll explain more about it. So going back to here, that's how you use Wikipedia. Then databases, which you may or may not have used before. But as in Anderson, we all have access to this amazing, incredible, beautiful source called McInVIA. And McInVIA will be a great friend for you. So let me just show you really quickly how to access it. So if you just type in McInVIA into your search bar, then it should be the first one. So you just click on that. And then in here, you'll type in Anderson. You could probably do Anderson High School. I just type in Anderson and then scroll down to Anderson High School, Austin, Texas. Once you select that, it'll confirm that's your location, and then you go login. And then the way you access it is just with your student login. So your student ID and then the password that you've chosen. And then bam, oh, okay, never mind. Let's see. There we go. So just good to know, Mackinvia, it has ebooks, audiobooks, videos, website links, a lot that you can use here. But what we're interested in is over here where it says databases. So you just click on that. And then there are two main databases. You can really use any, but the two that I've used and I think are the most helpful are Gale and JSTOR. And Gale is kind of separated into different sections, so it's a little bit more specified. So these are all of there are 48 different databases. But Gale has like environmental studies by Gale, Gale Global Issues in Context, Gale in Context High School, Gale in Context Science, Health and Wellness Resource Center. So Gale, it has different databases that are a little bit more specified. So that's good if you know that your topic kind of has to do with one of these and you just want to cut out all the information that isn't specific to that. And then JSTOR is another good one. This is probably the one that I've used the most in the past. And I just want to quickly show you how to work a search on here. It's the same for really any database, but here is kind of your general search. So if I wanted to talk about, let's say women, you can just type that in, search, but then you see that over 1.5 million search results came up, and that's not ideal. You can start looking through these, but obviously that's not very helpful because you're not going to be able to look through 1 million different search results. So the way that you can specify it is if you come over here to advanced search, and then here you have some different options. So the keywords, I could do like women, and if I want to talk about like technology, for example, then content I can access, yes. And then if you go even further, you can narrow it by what items you want. So let's say I only want research reports, which are going to be mainly statistics and articles. And then all languages, only English, or whatever language that you best understand or use. And then I can narrow the publication date. So if I do like 2015 to 2020, that's only 5 years. So that's really good. Journal or book title, I don't know. I'm not looking for anything that specific. And then down here, you can narrow it even more by what kind of like theme it has. So I'm doing women in technology. I could look up, or I could choose, let's see. So I want maybe like computer science. I could do feminist and women's studies, gender studies, history of science and technology, and just go through and choose all the ones that kind of have to do with what your topic is, and then submit advanced search. And yeah, so now it got, obviously 10,000 is still a lot, but it got narrowed by a big scope. So then you have a few different options. You can either download it, the PDF, save it, or cite it, which you don't really need to cite for speech yet, but this is really good for if you have to ever use JSTOR or any of these databases for your English class, and that's a great little shortcut. But if you just click on the source, then you see over here on the side, once, or maybe it won't load. Okay, usually they'll contain the abstract, which is right here, on the side here in bigger text so that it's easier to read. But this abstract is the best thing to kind of skim over whenever you click on one of these sources, because this is just a really quick gist of what the article talks about and then the most important aspects of it. So if it's like a study, then the results of the study will be here. So that's great because you don't need to read the whole source. This one's only 12 pages, but a lot of them can be up to like 100 pages, and it is very like academic language. So if you just read the abstract, that usually gives you all the information you need to know. So that's how you use the databases. Then how to structure your research. So as I was talking about before, there are 5 different types of sources that you're going to look for: stories, studies, expert opinions, statistics, and explanations. And ideally, you're going to want around 8 to 10 of each of these sources. So in the end, you should have 40 to 50 sources, which sounds like a lot. You're not going to use them all, but that's just the number that is going to give you the type of understanding that you need. So stories are just like more personal stories. These are really handy, especially in oratory, because it gives that emotional side that you need. They can either be personal or different from different people in the world. So the New York Times runs different opinion pieces, and those can be very good for stories. Then studies, pretty self-explanatory, and statistics also. Statistics are more of just the number. And studies, you'll kind of talk a little bit more about what the process looked like, why it was conducted, how it was conducted, and then give the results. And then expert opinions, this is just anyone it really depends on what your topic is. If you're talking more about like science or medicine or something like that, then it would be great to get someone who has a PhD, so is a doctorate in their field. That gives that aspect of credibility. People, when you say that, your audience and your judge especially is going to recognize that that is someone who can be believed about on this topic. But then if you're talking about like sports or basketball and you use Michael Jordan, then that can also be an expert because he is an expert in his field. So it really just depends on what your topic is and what you're talking about. Then explanations. I kind of view it as for my own benefit. But for example, if you're talking about cancer, then sorry, I keep going back to this. It was my topic last year, but an explanation could be like how stem cells can be used for cancer prevention. And an explanation would be like exactly how. So that can be both good general info for you and then also for your audience. And the way I structure this is I'll just get like a big Google Doc and I break them up. So I'll do kind of like expert opinions, explanations, statistics as like big headers. And then I put all of my sources below. And then I'll do like a short description of how I can use it. Or if there's like something very specific in it that I need, like if it's a statistic, then I'll just put the statistic underneath it, because then I don't need to go back and read through it and find what I wanted or why I saved it. It's just there so I can copy and paste it later. And then very quickly, I just want to talk about renaming links, because some of these links are going to be really big. So here's some research that I did for my OO this year. And so as you can see, these first few links are pretty long, a little not so great to look at. It's a little like chaotic. So if you just click on it and go to this little pencil right here, then you go to the text, delete that. Oh, delete more of it. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't just, there we go. Then you can change it. So like you saw, I just did like big link in that picture that I showed there, or you could even just put your definition here. So I could just say risk of female athlete triad, and then apply, and bam, it gets really shortened. So then it's just easier to look at. It concises all of your research. So that is just like a good tip. So that's everything that I want to talk about with research. Here are a few action items. Again, these aren't necessary. It's just optional if you want some practice, although eventually you are going to need to do this. So one, just practice finding 3 credible sources from a basic search. You don't need to do 3, just, play around with it. Or you can also practice finding useful sources from a database search. And by useful, I just mean relating to your topic. And then once you kind of played around with that a little bit, and once you have an idea of what your topic is going to be, then you can start finding 5 useful sources. And by useful, again, I just mean relating to your actual topic. So 1 from each category, and just practice like identifying what sources go with which category. So yeah, that is everything to talk about research. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.